Now, many reactions coming in. Let's get you one from Premier Doug Ford of Ontario, where he says in a social media post, "I'll never stop fighting to protect Ontario. If these tariffs proceed, Canada should respond tariff for tariff and dollar for dollar."
CTV's chief political correspondent Mike Couture was on the call listening to U.S. officials outline the new tariffs. Okay, Mike, why are the Americans doing this, and what products are we talking about? I listed off some of them. Tell us some more.
Yeah, essentially, Sandy, you have U.S. officials that continue to say the only two countries that ever really did retaliate them against them with their own tariffs were Canada and China. And they're saying that, look, because of those unfair tariffs that Canada put on the U.S. and because, as you had mentioned, those other three areas where they believe that trade practices are not being followed by Canada, they are applying 50% tariffs on a number of items. Now, it's an exhaustive list. I'll just give you a few, as you had mentioned as well. Milk products, wine and liquor. They also have plywood, hockey skates, cut flowers and bulbs, clothing, and also diaries and notebooks. And to your point, this is something that they're doing because of that alcohol ban by a number of provinces, also because of Canada's supply managed dairy sector, and because of a tariff that Canada puts on cars that are not USMCA compliant because some of their parts are not fully made in the United States. Those are cars that are coming back into Canada. So they are basically saying, the US is that they are just applying this because Canada is not respecting CUSMA.
President Donald Trump signed 3 executive orders imposing 50% tariffs on a wide range of Canadian products, set to take effect next month. One order targets what Washington calls Canadian discrimination against American alcoholic beverages. The other 2 cover disputes over dairy and the auto industry. Combined, the orders capture roughly $20 billion in annual imports from Canada. The product list includes Canadian alcohol, paper products, hockey equipment, wine, cheese, and cement. The legal weapon is Section 338 of the Tariff Act of 1930. A law that allows a president to set tariffs up to 50% when another country discriminates against American goods. The law has never been applied this way in its 96-year existence. The administration turned to it after the Supreme Court ruled that Trump could not use emergency powers for tariffs. United States Trade Representative Jamieson Greer said the move is meant to offset Canada's retaliation and discrimination against American exports. Some Canadian goods escape the net. Energy products, critical minerals, and fish are excluded, along with items already covered by industry-specific duties such as cars and metals. Ontario Premier Doug Ford answered the same day, and he did not wait for Ottawa. He posted on X, "I'll never stop fighting to protect Ontario. If these tariffs proceed, Canada should respond tariff for tariff, dollar for dollar." That position puts him directly at odds with the federal strategy. Prime Minister Mark Carney's official statement called the tariffs a violation of the Canada-United States-Mexico agreement, but announced no countermeasures, saying instead, "We stand ready to intensify those discussions in the coming weeks." Ford wants matching pain. Carney wants a month of negotiation. Both positions are now public, and the 30-day clock covers them both. Ford's demand carries weight because of what he has already done. The alcohol order exists largely because of him. In response to Trump's earlier tariffs on the Canadian auto sector, steel, and aluminum, nearly every province pulled American alcohol from government liquor store shelves. Only Alberta and Saskatchewan declined. Ontario runs one of the largest alcohol retail systems in North America through the LCBO, and Ford has repeatedly said American booze stays off Ontario shelves until the White House lifts its tariffs on Canada. The American spirits industry has absorbed steep sales losses as a result. Monday's executive order on alcohol is Washington's direct answer to that ban. Trump aimed a 50% tariff at the provinces, and the premier who led the boycott fired back within hours. This is also not Ford's first escalation. During an earlier round of the trade war, he imposed a 25% surcharge on electricity exports powering homes in Minnesota, Michigan, and New York, affecting millions of American households before suspending the measure after meeting with Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. He has said Canada holds $65 billion in potential counter tariffs and has described his approach as minimizing the pain for Canadians while maximizing the pain for Americans. When Ford calls for dollar retaliation, he is describing tools he has already used or priced out. Other premiers are lining up with their own frustration. British Columbia Premier David Eby said the tariffs will mostly raise costs for American citizens. At this point, I just feel sorry for Americans, Eby said. If you're picking fights with Canadians, you don't have a friend in the world. The Ontario Chamber of Commerce called the tariff expansion needless. Jeff Ginyard, president of Wine Growers British Columbia, urged Canadians to respond by buying domestic products and said the moment needs to be taken very seriously. All of this is unfolding while Ontario burns. The province is fighting 191 active wildfires, and thick smoke has pushed south across the border. More than 100 million Americans across 18 states and the District of Columbia have been under air quality alerts, with conditions rated very unhealthy and hazardous stretching from northeast Minnesota to southeast Virginia. Authorities issued an evacuation order for the community near Lac des Mille Lacs in northwestern Ontario as fires advanced. Days before the tariff orders were signed, Trump blamed Canada for the smoke, called it willful negligence, and threatened to add the cost to Canada's tariffs. A senior administration official confirmed Monday's orders are separate from any smoke-related tariff, while adding that options on that front remain under consideration. Ford spent the weekend answering the smoke accusations too. He pointed out that Canada sent water bombers to fight California's wildfires last year, and that Canadian crews restored American power after hurricanes hit Georgia and North Carolina in the fall of 2024. He noted that Minnesota's governor asked Canada for help this month, rescuing 2 groups of stranded campers, and a joint operation by the Ontario Provincial Police and the Canadian Armed Forces pulled both groups out. The premier fielding tariff threats on Monday is the same one coordinating disaster help with American governors over the same 7 days. The economic exposure explains the heat in Ford's response. Ontario is the heart of Canada's auto industry, and vehicles and parts cross the Ontario-Michigan border multiple times before a car is finished. Existing American duties already cover Canadian auto parts: steel, aluminum, and softwood lumber. The new 50% tariff reaches goods that the CUSMA agreement previously shielded, and the administration declined to renew that agreement in its current form earlier this month. Every additional duty lands hardest on the province Ford runs. The next move belongs to Ottawa. Carney's government has made detailed proposals to modernize CUSMA and says it will use the 30-day window to negotiate intensively. Ford has publicly committed to the opposite pressure, and his provincial tools, from the liquor ban to electricity exports, do not require federal permission. Canada's response will be decided while fires burn in the north, smoke drifts south, and $20 billion in trade sits under a countdown that started Monday. Canada will not accept the new 50% tariffs without consequence. The 30-day implementation window is the negotiating timeline Carney has committed to. Ford has committed to defending Canadian workers and businesses beyond that window if the tariffs proceed. Ontario's electricity surcharge mechanism remains available and documented. The specific lever Ford used in March 2025, the 25% surcharge affecting 1.5 million American customers in 3 states, is the same lever he has left on the table for the current escalation cycle.